All right, we are recording. This is Team No Judgment Weekly Call. So I know that when you first started, you read The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, right? That was one of the first ones. So Darren spoke at Summit this year, and he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing in person. He's really funny. He's really engaging, super inspiring. All of his stuff just really like, you're listening to it and you're like, wow, that definitely makes sense. And that's when the whole, like really the concept of the compound effect really started to like hit me as far as like, I really need to consciously do that more. You know what I mean? Because it is all these little tiny things that you do that add up. You know, it's not one workout that's going to make you thin. It's not one meal that's going to make you fat. Right. So seeing him in person and he, you know, he gave a great presentation, and he actually gave us like, you could text a word to this number that came up on the screen, and he gave us free access to the audio of The Compound Effect, and then like 3 or 4 different PDF workbooks that were delivered via email that normally you would have to pay for, but he gave it to us for free because of that. So that was really awesome. So I've become like a huge fan of his, actually getting to see him in person and, you know, really hear his philosophy and see the person behind it and the passion behind it. So now I get these emails from him, and they're called Darren Daily, and it's a video. They're usually like 5 minutes or less. Sometimes they're just like 2 minutes. Sometimes they're 5 minutes and a few seconds, but it's not very long. And it's sort of like a, you know, little quick PD burst for your day, right? So I start off my day, I do my affirmations before I get out of bed. I actually have them saved. I don't have my phone with me, but I've got them saved on my back screen of my phone. So it's the first thing I see when I turn my alarm off. So do my affirmations, read my personal development, and then I get out of bed and I, you know, let the dog out, fix my breakfast, and then I check my emails, and I always listen to his podcast. It's always like it comes in my email right as I'm starting the day. So that's nice because it's like a big boost of personal development to start the day off. Right. And so tonight's call was taken from one of the ones that he sent this week, and it was like, what are you going to do? Like 5 ways that you can get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it was really good. I mean, it just really like spoke to me. And so it's relevant, I think, especially because in this business, we are pushed outside of our comfort zone so often. And it's sort of like, it's something we strive to do. It's not, we're making the choice to be in this business. You know what I mean? So we're making the choice to consciously get out of our comfort zones. And it's that getting out of the comfort zone that gives us our growth. That's what really pushes us forward. You know, we can do the vitals all day long as far as like, oh, I read my book, I drank my shake, I did my workout, you know, I talked to a few people or commented on some photos, but like really truly like taking that extra step to like do 1 extra rep because you're, you know, you're making your muscles stronger and you're going to be uncomfortable. But Shift Shop, when you get to the week 3 workouts, one of the things that Chris talks about is like adversity and how you need it for growth, and how like being uncomfortable is what's going to make you grow. So it's a lesson that we hear, you know, all the time in this business. And I think it's pretty cool that we have, you know, just sort of the guts to go for it, because in what other profession are you consciously choosing, unless you're like a professional skydiver or something like that. But, you know, like your normal office job, it's not like you go in and you're like, really gonna bust out of my comfort zone today, you know? So, yeah. So it's cool and it's a choice, but in recognizing that it's a choice, it's something that we have to consciously seek after, because in order to be able to do something that we haven't done before, like to do what you haven't done before, you know, you have to get outside of this comfort zone and try something completely new. So it allows us to do more. It allows us to grow more. And people are, if you really think about it, you know, we're always going, well, when I do this, I'll be happy, right? When you're in high school, you're like, God, when I get to college, I'll be happy. And then you're in college, like, God, I'll be so happy when I get out of here and get a job. Then you get your job and you're like, I'll just be so happy when I meet someone. You know what I mean? And like your whole life, you're going through this whole like next thing. And it's, I think, especially that way with people who seek to achieve and get out of their comfort zones. It's like once you reach your milestone, you're ready to go and reach the next one, right? So, but success, as far as in our realm, is it's a comfort that's only awarded to people that are willing to do the uncomfortable things. Comfort equals stagnation. Like if you're comfortable with something, it means that you're not growing. And if you're not growing, that should scare the crap out of you. Because, you know, what is life if you're just doing the same thing over and over again, you know? It's boring. And so growth, it requires a constant, sort of like a near constant state of being uncomfortable. So it's something that we have to get used to. So he gave us in this video 5 ways to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So number 1 is do what you resist. And that's such a good one because it's so easy to put off the unpleasant things. Not just in this business either, right? Just in life in general. Like I will wait till the very last minute to have to write out the checks for my bills because that is such a pain in the butt. You know what I mean? Or just whatever. Like you put off the things that you don't want to do. And so what ends up happening is not only do you have that task hanging over your head the whole time, but then you're thinking about it. Oh God, I have to do this. And you just keep on dreading it. And then that bleeds out into other things because then you get maybe like frustrated or, you know, you're just in a foul mood because you've got to do whatever and you know that you've got to do it, but you haven't done it. Or you feel guilt. I know that when I don't clear out the only app on my phone that I allow a notification to come in is my Messenger app. And if I haven't cleared that out before bed, I feel like shit. I'm like, oh man, you know, I should have answered those messages earlier in the day, you know? And so that way I know if they're sitting there for more than a day, then I really feel bad, you know? And I'm like, I need to do these. I need to just do it. But then I'm like more pissed off that like I've left it go for that long.
Right.
Whereas if I would just do it and get it out of the way and just get over myself, it wouldn't be that bad, right?
Right.
So actually Carl, the CEO of Beachbody, he had done this video, I think it was on the Beachbody Champions page not too long ago, about the 5 donuts. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I don't think I did.
But he was talking about, so like Major League Baseball players, you know, when they're warming up and they're swinging their bats to get warmed up, in practice, they put this thing on the end of the bat and it's called a donut. And it's basically like a heavy piece of metal, makes the bat harder to swing. So even though it's harder while they're doing it, then when they get in a game situation, it's so much easier. And then they hit the ball further and, you know, all that good stuff. So Carl suggested, he said, do your 5 donuts. So whether that's like reaching out to 5 people or answering 5 messages or whatever. And I guess you can have an unlimited amount of donuts if you want to do 10 donuts or if you want to do 10 donuts or whatever. But he said 5. That was his like minimum suggestion, you know. But like just get your 5 donuts out of the way in the morning. So if that's starting 5 conversations or answering 5 messages, just do it. And then it's done and you can cross it off the list and then you like feel better. You know, even though it sucked at the time, you're like, God, the thing that I struggle with and I hate to do it. But then once you've done it, then you're like, oh God, okay, that's done. Now I can do all the other stuff that doesn't like make me so all the time. Right. So just doing what you resist. And then that, you know, resistance, you think about resistance in terms of like when you're using your body weight and stuff like that, that's what makes you strong, right? Is the resistance. Is what's building up your muscles and stuff like that. Same thing with our brains. If we're going against all the time, if we're working against that resistance, we're making our brains stronger. We're making our hearts stronger. So
that's a good way to look at it. I never would have thought of it like that.
Right, exactly. So I'm all about these fitness, you know, metaphors now since I'm home all day and looking at fitness stuff all day long. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, so just you know, just getting it out of the way. It'll suck way less. It's better for it to suck for 10 minutes than to suck for an entire day.
Yeah.
You know? So, okay, that was number 1. Number 2, push past the hard. So, okay, so everything in life, not just in this business, but everything in life, that every endeavor that we pursue, at some point gets to a place where it's not easy. You hit a wall at some point, right? It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's like cleaning your house or, you know, running a marathon, or, you know, sometimes you're getting through a workout, or you have you're fixing your bathroom because the tile fell off the wall, or whatever, you know, there's a point where either mentally, physically, or emotionally, you're like, I am so done. I cannot anymore. Right.
Mhm.
But growth is just going just a little bit past that, where you think, you know, that your wall is, just pushing just a little bit harder, just telling your mind, because seriously, the longer that I'm in this, the more that I realize the truth, and it's not your body you have to convince, it's your mind. You know, if you tell your brain, because that little voice in your head is what talks to you all day long, consciously and subconsciously. So if it's hearing negative, awful things all day long, if it's not hearing positive affirmations and happy things and joyful things and uplifting things, then you're not going to be happy and uplifting and positive and joyful and strong. You're going to be, you know, a negative ninny, and that's not cool. Or you're going to, you know, think that you're stuck in weakness, and you're not. So this is the muscle that we have to work. This and this, right, are the ones that we really have to work on strengthening. And then the outside reflects the inside. And the only way to really grow past that wall, there's no growth in getting to the wall, right? Everything until you get to the wall is like within your realm of ability, right? Even if you kind of like slow down as you're getting to it, like, oh God, this is getting really hard, you know, as you're climbing your mountain or whatever, and you get to that one overhang and you're like, God, how am I ever going to get past this? You just keep climbing just a little bit. Your glory and your growth are going to be right on the other side of that wall. So you've got to hit it and go over it, and then make your way to the next one. It's just a matter of telling yourself that you can. So that's, you know, personal development obviously is going to help a lot with that. And affirmations, the longer that I do this, the more and more I believe in affirmations. I'll tell you what, every milestone that I've hit in my business, like the month that I hit diamond for the first time, I have this little notebook, and in the front of it, I wrote, I'll even show it to you. It was a personal development exercise that we had to write down like all these I am statements. And so I wrote in here, I am this, I am that. And I read it every day for a month. And that's the month that I hit diamond in my business for the first time. And
it's interesting how that all works.
It is. It's weird, right? And I had written like, I am a diamond coach. That was the very first thing on the list. I am a diamond coach. And then I had like, you know, I'm a good wife. I'm a strong leader. I'm this, I'm that. But that was the very first thing I read every morning, and I hit diamond. And now my affirmations since coming back from Summit, one of the things I wrote was I'm financially secure, because it's really scary, you know, to leave a corporate job and a regular paycheck to just go into the unknown. And it's all on you, and that's exciting and it's cool and it makes you work hard. But at the same time, there are still days where you're like, oh my God,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
What have I done? And so reading that every day, I'm financially secure. I'm financially secure. And somebody that I had, somebody's podcast that I was listening to said that when she was freaking out about money before she really hit the big time, every time she would pay for something, she would say to herself in her mind, there's more where that came from.
Ooh, I like that.
Right? So I've been doing these affirmations to keep myself from freaking out over the fact that I no longer have a, regular corporate paycheck coming in. And I had told Natalie that I had an income goal for this month. And the second week in the month, I was already more than halfway to it.
Wow.
So it's like, all these affirmations, this positive stuff, telling your brain that you can do it. It just has to hear it and hear it and hear it and hear it. It's like, a stubborn.
It's so simple, it can be hard.
Exactly. Yeah. We do overcomplicate. And, our brains are hardwired to protect us from danger. So
right.
It sees any kind of change, even if it's a positive change, even if it's, a new workout routine or a new eating routine or whatever, those old habits are going to try to come back in and get you because your brain is like, danger, danger. It's different,
Oh, yeah.
So those affirmations, pushing past that hard, telling yourself, like, oh God, I don't think I can do anymore. No, yes, I can. I can do a little bit more. That's where your major growth is going to happen. And that's where the comfort zone is going to, expand, or I guess it's not, I don't really know what the proper visual would be for that. You want your comfort
I understand
zone
what you're saying though.
Okay. Thank you. You get me. All right. So, number 3 was go for failure. He said, if you haven't failed, you haven't finished. Was right? So like, yay, success. That's right. Like failure is right at the edge of our current capabilities. And a lot of times we go just so far enough to be like, successful to probably the masses in the outside world that sees our highlight reel. And they're like, oh, you're doing great. But inside that you could do more. That you're capable of more. Your coach knows that you're capable of more. And so if you push past that success limit, you're going to hit failure. And that's an okay thing. Like failure is a normal part of life, but failure is part of growth because we don't learn anything by always getting it right.
Yes.
It's like if everything's always perfect, it's you're comfortable and you're doing fine, but comfort is mediocrity.
Right.
And who's satisfied? Do you really want to look back in 50 years and say, I lived a really mediocre life and it was nobody wants to say that. You want to be like, nope. I lived an awesome life. Yeah. I did a lot of cool things and I achieved cool things, and achievement's different for everybody, but like, I don't think there's any worse feeling in the world than knowing that you could do better and not do
but you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. And even if somebody's like, oh, you did a great job. And you're like,
not really. That could have been so much better.
Right. Exactly. Like in college, you like write a paper or something at the last minute and you get a bad grade and you're like, oh, thank God. But I know I could have done that, better. Yeah. Right. So that's going for failure. Oh, the watchdog's on duty. There.
Oh, he sounds so cute.
Oh, he's ginormous. Samson, that's enough. Thank you. Oh, had to get one more in. Yeah, so going for failure, and like there's a book that I read not too long ago called Go for No. And it's basically like it removes the emotionalism from me. That's enough. Now he's in here because I didn't go there to see what's going on. Hush. So it's all about like removing the emotional attachment from yes and no, recognizing that they are just words. And their whole premise is like, instead of looking at no as a negative, look at it as a positive, because the more no's that you get, that means the higher your reach is, or the further your reach is. So the higher your probability that you're going to get a yes. And I thought that was a really interesting way to frame it, because most of the time, we get a no and then we're like, oh God, nobody wants to buy my stuff and nobody wants to work with me. Nobody wants to be in my challenge group, and it sucks, but
at least there are people out there to say no.
Right. But they talk about having Samson. That's enough. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
John's not home, so he's in like super protector mode. So every noise that he hears, he's gonna bark. Anyway, but yeah, like removing that emotional attachment from no and realizing that just because one person said no to you doesn't mean that everybody else in the world is going to say no, and doesn't mean that there's not still someone out there that needs what you have to offer. You know, people say no, but it doesn't necessarily, like, we can't take it so personally.
Right.
You know? It's not a failure if someone says no. It's not a reflection on you personally if somebody is not ready to make a commitment. And it's so much better to not drag them kicking and screaming through the mud, you know?
Yeah.
And you'll find that as you build your business, it's very emotionally and mentally draining when you're trying to motivate people that don't have motivation, you know?
Right.
So learning to look at no as not necessarily like the end of the world and a bad thing, you know, because if you get 10 no's, that's like you've talked to 10 people, right? But if you get 100 no's, there's 100 people that you've talked to. So that's 100 seeds that you've planted, and somewhere in there, somebody's going to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the statistically, just you have a higher probability. So going for that failure, great way to get your, you know, to be uncomfortable. And it's uncomfortable, but you learn from it, and you know, you get used to it. It's just like with doing an exercise. I mean, like when you first started planking, when you did your very first plank ever, could you hold it for like a solid minute?
Oh my God, no.
No,
I was
right?
like, what is this? This is terrible. I trembled like you wouldn't believe. I probably looked like I was dying. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, why am I sweating so much? I didn't even do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, imagine if you had done that plank and been like, oh God, I suck at that plank. I'm never doing that again. Then what happens?
That would have been horrible.
That would have been horrible, right? But you know,
Yeah.
you set a goal for yourself. Like, I'm going to hold it for 10 seconds. And then when you do that, like, all right, I'm going to hold it for 15 seconds. Like getting to failure and then realizing that you can go past that. You're going to get to a point where you fail. And then right outside of that, you're going to have success. You just have to push past that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. Okay. Number 4, this was probably my most favorite and also least favorite. Number 4.
Love-hate
Suck it up.
relationship.
Yeah. No, he said, we just have to suck it up. He said, like, life is hard, success is hard, but we should appreciate that because it eliminates the weak. Basically, life, success, whatever, it eliminates the weak and those that are unwilling to do more. Right? So, those nice summer bugs. So, like we said before, comfort equals mediocrity, right? Comfort is the death of success, because the minute you get to the point where you're like, oh, I'm pretty comfortable with this, then you stop trying to achieve, you stop trying to grow, and there's not really a time where you can like rest on your laurels, you know?
Right.
This is a business of building. This is something that we have to constantly keep after. Even when you've built, I mean, you know, some of these super coaches, I was just listening to a live the other day from a coach who had taken like a year off when she had her baby.
Wow.
But she had built a huge, substantial team and busted her butt to be able to do that for like 3 years. You know, she'd been just working like a mad woman. And, you know, she's like a multi-6-figure earner. So she could do that. But what she did is she got comfortable with being uncomfortable, and she was constantly outside of that comfort zone and constantly growing and failing forward and doing all the things and sucking it up. And then when it got to the time, she could do that. So, you know, the difference, the only difference, and Darren talked about this at Summit, and I thought it was so striking. He said, successful people and unsuccessful people both hate doing what it takes to be successful. Literally the only difference between them is that successful people do it anyway. Super simple, right? And he was like, there's no like humongous secret to success. There's no like secret formula or secret sauce or whatever that anybody's going to be able to tell you. He's like, you just have to do the things that, you know, like for us, it's the 4 vitals, and we can do we can do them half-ass and we get half-ass return, or we can do them 100% and, we get a much better return. If you treat it like a hobby, it's like a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it's a business and it pays you that way. But we can't pick and choose and say, well, I only think I want to work out and drink my shake, but I don't want to talk to anybody and I don't want to read personal development. Like, you're just a challenger then, you're not,
Right.
You're not a coach, you're not active, you're not a business owner, or, I'm going to read the personal development and like not really apply it. That's a problem, I think, that a lot of people have is, they're like, oh, I'm reading all this personal development, but you can't just be a student. You have to be like a researcher, and you have to apply, what I mean? Figure out how it works for your life. But still, even with that, you can't, I'm going to personal development the crap out of myself and 8 books a week and drink my shake and work out. And it's like, that's great. That's doing great things for you. But if you are a business owner and you want to be successful, you have to have that 4th component, which is talking to people, building relationships.
Right.
And that's, a lot of people struggle. That seems to be, the biggest thing, getting outside of the comfort zone for everyone else. But when you start looking at, when you develop a belief in the products, and I think this is going to be so huge for you this time around, because you were without Shakeology for a while and you saw that
oh God,
right? You didn't like
so
it.
So bad.
Yeah.
There honestly, there's nothing out there like it. And I looked because I was just at that point where I was just trying to do something different, and there really isn't. And now it's even better with it being reformulated. I feel like it's better. I feel like, and I'm not sure, I tried to compare the ingredients. I knew that there were some superfood ingredients added, but I didn't know exactly I didn't remember what was added. But whatever they did, like, it holds me over so much longer now.
Yeah.
It really does. It's much more filling, but not, in an uncomfortable way, but just a great way, and it's still, it again, just like that, within a week, my digestion, everything's pretty much corrected again. And of course, clean eating has definitely helped with that too. And This time around, it's just so much different. I can't even explain why. I don't know why this time around is different. I really don't, because something just clicked in my mind, I guess, and it is, because I'm following it the way I'm supposed to. And despite the foods that are in my house that are not my foods, I'm not eating them. They're still in the cupboard. I open the cupboard. I'm like, yep, they're there. And then I go for, what I can eat and everything. But it's just, it's different now. It really is. And it's like, there's no going back. There really isn't.
Exactly.
There's just no going back now. So I'm very happy.
Yeah, I'm so happy too. I'm so happy. Like, you just don't even know. But and I think that's going to be really, really huge for your business, because if you don't have that, 100% belief, if you don't have that experience, because if you look at a lot of people, they've had a transformation of some sort, whether it's a physical, whether it's using this business to get out of some kind of god-awful situation. They had all these guest speakers at Summit that some of their stories were, you were like sobbing in your seat, and it's like, and then I found Beachbody, and, I was able to use it as a vehicle to save my life and to get out of a horrible abusive marriage, or to claw my way out of addiction and stuff like that, and it's like, but it was all the same thing. Like, they saw the worth in the products, the programs, the community, and they don't look at it as selling products and programs. They look at it as sharing, something amazing that changed their life. So, so you now seeing, like, okay, it really sucks to not be on Shakeology. Like, it really does make a difference, so much easier to share it because you've now had that experience, of being with and without, and seeing how much better life is with it, when you're not. So it makes it that much easier to share that. And I think that's a key aspect that a lot of people are missing, is they get so worked up in their heads about selling. And it doesn't have to be an uncomfortable thing because you're not selling. It's literally just the same as if you went to a fantastic restaurant and had like the best steak ever. and you were like, everybody listen, oh my God, I just had the best shake ever, right? Same thing with Shakeology. I just had the best shake ever. I just had the best workout ever. You know, I just had like the best support ever from this community, you know? So it's, yeah, you've definitely got to develop the belief and, you know, just suck it up and do the uncomfortable things. And it's going to, again, like with exercise, it gets easier the more that you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So doing the things, doing the 4 vitals that make us successful, that Beachbody has been so nice to lay out for us as the 4 vital behaviors that will move your business forward. It'll get easier the more that you do it. And hearing no will get easier the more that you do it, because you'll develop the confidence to know that
that's okay.
Yeah, it's totally fine. I can't even tell you how many no's I got. I probably 30 in one day. I like sent out a bunch of messages when I was getting ready for this challenge group, and I had them in a notebook, and I was just marking them off as they, you know, definitively told me no. And it's like, all right, well, there's, you know, 30 names that I can follow up with in the future. Good times. So just, you know, so it takes a while. You've got to plant the seeds, but it's a matter of sucking it up and just doing it, because not doing it makes you feel a whole lot worse. I'll tell you that. So.
Very true.
Okay. And he said, Darren said, doing what sucks is what separates you from the rest.
I like
and I love that. I wrote it down. I was like, yes, that's awesome. I can do the sucky stuff. Okay. And his number 5 thing, supersize your goals. So he's saying, you know, like, we set goals a lot of times and we're like, yeah, I think I can probably achieve that. So that's what I'm going to put down. Like when when Natalie asks, like, what are your monthly goals? Or when I post on the team page and I say, you know, what's everyone's goals for the month? And, you know, people sort of put these very safe kind of goals out there, but going back to the whole, like, you know, getting over the wall and going for no and stuff like that, we don't often realize the amount of time and effort that has to go into achieving that goal. So like, oh, okay, I want to hit Success Club 10, right? So that's 5 people. So if out of an average of 10 people you get 1 yes, then you have to talk to 50 people. You have to at least talk to 50 people by the law of averages, right?
Right.
But how many of us actually talk to 50 people in
Probably
a week?
not too many.
Yeah, exactly. So we underestimate the amount of action that it truly like takes. There's actually a really good book that I had read back in November, I think, October or November, and it was called The 10X Rule. Really, really good personal development book. And it talked about how whatever goal you've set, you should just go ahead and expect to have to do 10 times what you think you're going to do to be able to reach that. And it was one of the few personal development books that I like, it set me on fire. I think I read it in October because then November was like a huge month for my business, November and December. Because I put in,
10 times the work.
Yeah, 10 times the work of what I had been doing, and it paid off. And it just like with, when I came back from Summit, July was one of my best ever. I think I had like a combined between my account and my spouse account, like Success Club 16 or 18.
Oh, wow.
Never seen numbers like that, but
that's great.
Reaching out and having conversations and doing, supersizing those goals. So not only, with setting safe goals and realizing that you have to 10 times your effort, but he says you should set goals like a little above and beyond what you're actually comfortable. Because again, with comfort is stagnation. So if you're like, oh, I could probably, I'd say I can hit Success Club, 5. But you can do more than that, and that's just the comfortable goal. And it might be really freaking scary at first to put, rank advancement goals or income goals or whatever out there. I mean, it is really scary because, part of the ego is to keep us safe, right? And keep us from feeling like the kid that shows up to school in their underwear and those horrible bad boots, you know? Nobody wants to feel that way, and your ego tries to protect you from that. But the cool thing about this business that I really don't think that you'll find in many other places is that no one gives a shit if you miss a goal. They're not going to be like, you suck and you're never going to make this goal, you know? They're not like that. They're like, girl, it's okay. You'll get it next month. Let's work on some ways. You know, everybody's so good to share information and tips and stuff like that. And you just don't get that anywhere else.
You really don't.
Right. So this
really
is
don't.
The perfect business to set big goals.
Right.
You know, set big, scary ones, because when you achieve them, I mean, it's only a matter of time until you do. When you achieve them, you're going to have a crap ton of support, you know, and cheering you on and accolades and what have you. But on the way there, you're going to have that same thing. And that's really freaking cool. So, you know, setting these goals, and he was talking about, he gave the analogy of like a weightlifter, you know, when they go up in weights and they're doing like the bench press and they've got that spotter there just in case. So that's kind of what your coach and your upline and stuff is for. We're your spotters, you know, that are going to help you and help you troubleshoot and sort of, you know, give you that extra maybe little push that you need and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, it's like lifting weights and doing push-ups. You've got to work those muscles, you know, and you'll get better with time, and you'll keep on achieving these goals, you know, and you've got a support system there for if you fail. And like we talked about before, failure is something that you should go for. So to wrap it up, we can, with comfort zones, right? We can either, how can I put this? How can I wrap it up nicely? We can live a life where we feel empowered and deserving because we know that we're putting in the effort and getting outside of the comfort zone and making it happen. Or we can be tired and overwhelmed because we know we could do better and we're not doing it, and we're tired of being stuck in the same place, but we just don't want to put forth the effort to get out. Right?
That's a good way of putting it. That's a very good way of putting it. Well said.
Right. Thank you. So yeah, so it's just, you know, we just have to get, like you said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's not the end of the world to feel a little squidgy every once in a while. Right. It's not the end of the world to have your heart racing and your palms sweaty a little bit. It's totally okay. I mean, though, it is not the end of the world if somebody tells you no. That's I try to tell like my newer coaches that are so freaked out about hearing no, and I'm like, guys, listen. If you say, hey, would you, you know, I've got this challenge group coming up and blah, 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 and would you like to be a part of it? And somebody says, no, I don't think so right now. Like, what has changed in your life right then?
Not really much of anything.
Right, exactly. They just said no, and your family's still alive, and you've still got a roof over your head, and, you know, there are so many bigger problems in the world to have to worry about than your challenge group invitation. You know?
Yeah.
So just we get so emotionally attached and we take it so personal, and we don't have to. It's just a word. It is literally just a word. It's not anything that affects the safety and health of the ones that you love. And that's what matters.
Very true.
So we have to quit making it such a big thing and just go for it. All right. Any questions? Any things you'd like to add?
I can't think of any questions right now, or probably because I'm on the spot. But I'm sure I'll have questions at some point. But actually, in what we had discussed when we first started talking, inspirational stuff and motivational, my other business coach had recommended writing down at least 100 things that were awesome about yourself. And
I like that.
Which was really amazing. I'm not sure if she got it from a book or intuition, whatever, but it was, at first I'm like, okay, that seems kind of weird because, you know, you're writing about yourself. I could easily do that about other people, but when, you know, it's a self-love thing, and when you're really trying to get down to the nitty-gritty, you know, and I'm thinking, am I going to be able to come up with that many things? And I actually came up with 105, and I told her that I'd like to actually build on it. So, and what I did, or what I started doing the other day, I've got it in a notebook, all the items about myself that are quote unquote awesome. And what I did is I just kind of randomly picked one to kind of focus on as an affirmation for that day. So I thought it was kind of a cool idea. And I also, with the I have my little like sticky note thing up on my lamp so I can see it every day. And I'm also doing a self-gratitude, like a gratitude journal. So I write down 10 to 20 things a day. And I just started doing that. So it's kind of all three that I just started doing. So I've started doing these, maybe a few days ago. But either way, that's kind of like my routine in the morning now. Kind of like what you said, you've got your phone, you've got it all on your phone. You do your personal development in the morning before you get ready and have breakfast and stuff. That's kind of my routine before I like start working on my business stuff. So I'm going to keep going with that. But I'm definitely going to add in personal development because I've got my books here. I have not been reading them, but I will because that's just what's supposed to be done. So right. I definitely will be doing that. So.
I love it.
Thanks.
There's such a difference in you. I can really tell.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Also, you look like very jacked right here. Your arm is very like.
It's probably, my muscles are probably stuck that way because of today's workout. Oh my God. That was great though. You know, honestly, Shift Shop is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I love it so much. And Chris is amazing. He's so inspirational. He's super funny. Of course, yes. When you're trying to work out and you're laughing because he's like singing or something, it's like my muscles are contracting all crazy. I'm like, stop, I can't do this.
Yes.
Makes you work harder, I guess.
He's so awesome. He, so Natalie was in the corporate test group for that.
Mm-hmm.
And she, like, right in the middle of it, her baby got bit by their dog.
I saw that. Oh my God. I couldn't even, I'm like, I was sitting on the couch sobbing. I'm reading the post. Rich comes in the room. He's like, are you okay? I'm like shooing him away. I could not believe it.
Yeah.
That was the scariest thing I've ever,
Yeah, it was awful. And so, you know, she had to take the baby to the hospital and everything. She hadn't done her workout. And she said she came home and she did her workout and she posted in their group, their coach test group, and said, you know, I had to be like a tough mom for my tough baby today. And she had done, I guess, like a workout compilation or whatever, and did this little thing at the end. And she had Mara growl like a lion. She's like, you know, and so Chris actually got in the group because she said he would go live in there like every day. And the next day he did a live and he like tagged her in it and was, you know, just talking about like how awesome that was and what a good example she was. And they like started a hashtag within the group with their things. And, you know, he was just like super uplifting. And then she got to work out on stage with him at Summit.
I saw that. I don't know whose video it was because honestly, I was just kind of stalking everyone's Summit videos. As soon as I'd see them, which I didn't catch, I don't think I caught too many of them actually live, but I would go back through and I was just like, looking through and, you know, I was just longingly looking through and everything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I saw her up there. I'm like, oh my God, she's really up there. That's so cool.
Yeah, I was fangirling.
That must have been amazing.
But he was the same way at Summit. Like he comes out on the stage and the very first thing he said was, I want all of you here to know, you know, that you're perfect just the way you are. And he was like, we're made in God's image and God doesn't make any mistakes. Everybody's beautiful, you know, and his whole thing was like, he said, like, close your eyes and imagine like whatever it is that's causing you pain right now, whether it's a failed relationship or a fight that you've had with someone or a failure that you feel that you know, haven't achieved, blah, 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 whatever it is, take that pain and internalize it and then use that as your fuel to get through this workout. So he essentially took all the power that this negative thing has away from it, you know?
Right.
You take the power from it and then it's not holding over you anymore. You turn it into something positive. And I was like, that is so great.
That really is.
You're like crying your eyes out and sweating your butt off. And he's amazing. So I think, you know, he's really going to change a lot of lives. This program's really changing a lot of lives. So
I think so. I really do. And once I get my sister on board, I want her to do it because I think she'll do really well with it. And it's so much fun too. And it's like different, you know, it's not just the same old run of the mill.
Yeah.
And it's well, it's even easy to do in my dining room. I'm sure my neighbor downstairs is kind of like, what is going on a half hour out of the day? Well,
Yeah.
a little more this week, and then next week, oh well, it's, you know, it is what it is. I'm quiet
Yeah.
other than that. So I'm just like,
You go down and
probably
recruit them
something.
too. Like, hey, you want to know what this noise is? Come work out with me.
I know, right? I'm exercising up here, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So, well, thank you for sharing your personal development stuff with me. I'll definitely look into the,
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the gratitude journal idea too. I think I'll start doing that.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And she recommended, of course, you know, form habits. She said try to do it for a month or at least 3 weeks. She said try to do it every day. You don't always have to have the same amount. You can add more if you want. She said rule of thumb 10 to 20, but certainly if you have more to add, then go ahead and add it. And it's okay if you repeat things, she said, which is good
Awesome.
because a lot of times, I mean, we're grateful for this, well, some of the same stuff, you know, like family, a house, whatnot, stuff like that. So, but it's nice to add to it as well. Just get you in that, you know, feel good mood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's a good way to start the day. However you know,
Hmm.
whatever happens in your first 5 minutes is generally setting the tone for your whole day. So,
Very true.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for attending. I'm going to stop recording.